He pushed the engines to full power, and they raced toward the asteroid belt ahead, 3 Nari ships close behind. The old mining station floated in empty space. No one had worked there for many years. The walls were rusty, the air was stale but breathable. It was the perfect hiding place. Sung had managed to lose the Nari ships in the asteroid belt. His ship took some damage, but they escaped. Now they needed time to repair and plan their next move. This station still has power, Sung said, checking the systems. And the communication array works. We can use it to study your data crystal. Sora looked around the dusty control room. It's so primitive, but safe, Sung reminded her. No one comes here anymore. They set up their equipment in what had once been the station manager's office. Sung connected Sora's data crystal to the old computer system. The screen lit up with Nari symbols and images. Can you read this? Sung asked. Sora nodded. Yes, this is shipping data. It shows resources being taken from poor outer planets. She pointed to columns of numbers. These planets thought they were getting fair prices, but the officials were taking most of the money. How long has this been happening? At least 10 years, Sora said. That's billions of credits stolen. Sung whistled. No wonder they want to keep it secret. As days passed, Sung repaired their ship while Sora organized the evidence. They worked well together despite their differences. Each night, they would share a meal and talk. Why did you become a salvage pilot? Sora asked one evening. Sung stared into his cup. I was a military pilot once, but I refused an order to fire on a civilian ship during the border disputes. They said the ship was carrying weapons. I wasn't sure. What happened? They were wrong. The ship had families escaping. The fighting. I was discharged from service for disobeying orders, but I saved innocent lives. He looked up at her. What about you? Why risk everything to expose these officials? Sora was quiet for a moment. My family lived on one of those outer planets. The officials took so much that we had little food or medicine. My younger brother died because we couldn't afford treatment. She touched the data crystal. This isn't just about money, it's about lives. Sung reached across the table and put his hand near hers. After a moment's hesitation, she placed her purple hand on his. Her skin was cooler than a human's, but soft. My people say humans are too emotional, Sora said softly. That your emotions make you dangerous. And what do you think now? I think those emotions also make you brave and kind. She smiled. Emotions aren't just weakness. Their moment was interrupted by an alarm from the computer. New data had been decrypted. They rushed to the screen. What they saw made them both gasp. This can't be right, Sung said. The data showed plans for a new weapon system using the stolen resources. The Nari officials were working with weapons dealers to develop technology that could destroy entire planets. They're selling this to anyone. Who can pay? Sora said, her voice shaking. Pirates, warlords, anyone. Sung studied the technical specs. This is worse than corruption. This could start a galactic war. We need to get this to the Galactic Alliance immediately, Sora said. Sung shook his head. The officials have too much influence there. We need to go directly to both our governments, human and Nari leaders together. There's a joint research station at the edge of the neutral zone, Sora suggested. Both our species work there, they could help us. As they prepared to leave, Sung realized how much had changed between them. Weeks ago, they were strangers who didn't trust each other. Now they were risking everything together. Whatever happens, he said, I'm glad I found your ship that day. Sora smiled. So am I. A loud bang echoed through the station. The walls shook. Alarms blared. They found us, Sung said, grabbing his weapon. We need to get to the ship. They ran through the corridor, the sound of footsteps behind them growing louder. The peaceful moment was over. The hunt had begun again. The corridor filled with smoke as explosions rocked the old mining station. June ran with Sora toward the docking bay where their ship waited. 3 armed men in black uniforms blocked their path. Give us the Nari and the data crystal, the leader demanded. You can still walk away, human. June pushed Sora behind him. Go to the ship through the maintenance tunnel. I'll hold them off. No, Sora said firmly. We stay together. The men raised their weapons. Jun pulled out his old service blaster. He hadn't used it in years, but his training came back quickly. He fired twice, hitting one man in the leg. The others took cover and returned. Fire Jun and Sora ducked behind a metal container. Laser blasts melted the wall behind them. Jun knew they couldn't stay there long. I have an idea, Sora whispered. She pointed to pipes running along the ceiling. Those carry coolant for the old mining equipment. If we hit them, Jun understood immediately. He aimed his blaster at the pipes and fired. Cold liquid sprayed down, creating a thick cloud of vapor between them and their attackers. In the confusion, they sprinted toward the docking bay. More men waited there. One fired at Sora. Without thinking, Jun jumped in front of her. The blast hit him in the chest. Pain exploded through his body as he fell. Sora screamed in anger. She grabbed Jun's blaster and fired with surprising accuracy. Her shots drove the attackers back long enough for her to drag Jun into their ship. Once inside, she sealed the door and started the engines. The ship lifted off as more blasts hit its hull. Soon they were in open space, but Jun barely noticed. His vision was going dark. Stay with me, Sora begged. She tore open his shirt to check the wound. It was deep and burning. Human medicine. I don't know enough. The auto doc, Jun whispered. In the medical cabinet. It can help. Sora found the small medical device and brought it to Jun. Her hands trembled as she attached it to his chest. The machine beeped and began treating the wound. Don't leave me, she said, holding his hand. Please, Jun. The crystal, he managed to say. Make sure it's safe. We're going to the joint station. But you have to stay alive. You have to. Jun's world faded to black. He woke up in a bright room. The ceiling was white. Soft beeping. Sounds came from nearby. He tried to move but felt weak. Don't try to sit up yet, a familiar voice said. Sora came into view. She looked tired but was smiling. We made it to the joint research station. Their doctors treated you. They said you were lucky. The blast missed your heart by 2 centimeters. There evidence? Jun asked, his voice rough. Safe. Both our governments have seen it. The corrupt officials have been arrested. The weapons plans were destroyed. Sora squeezed his hand. You're a hero, Jun. We both are, he corrected. Over the next few days, as Jun recovered, officials from both the human and Nari governments came to speak with them. They were thanked for their bravery. The stolen resources would be returned to the outer planets. The weapons dealers were being hunted down. 1 month later, Jun stood at a large window in the station, watching ships come and go. His chest still hurt sometimes, but he was healing. Sora joined him, standing close. What will you do now? She asked. Go back to salvage work? Jun shook his head. I was thinking of something different. There are many planets that were hurt by those officials. They need help rebuilding. They'd be lucky to have you, Sora said. And you? Will you return to your people? Sora was quiet for a moment. My people have much to learn about humans, and I have much to learn about the galaxy. I was thinking, perhaps I could continue my studies elsewhere, such as on a ship traveling to those same planets that need help, if the captain would allow it. Jun smiled and took her hand. Her purple fingers intertwined with his brown ones. Different, but fitting together perfectly. I think the captain would be happy to have you aboard, he said. The Lucky Star could use a science officer. A new ship waited for them in the docking bay. It wasn't the old salvage vessel Jun had piloted for years. This one was bigger, newer, with both human and Nari technology. On its side, the name Lucky Star had been painted in both human and Nari languages. As they prepared for their first mission, Jun realized that they had started something important, not just for themselves, but for both their peoples. A small beginning, but one full of hope. Ready for a new adventure? He asked. Sora smiled. With you? Always. The end. I think... She started, then looked directly at him. I think you could have taken my data drive while I slept. You could have left me to die. You did neither. That suggests our understanding of humans is incomplete. Jiho smiled. Maybe we can learn from each other. Their conversation was interrupted by a loud alarm. Jiho rushed to the control panel. What's wrong? Sora asked, coming to stand beside him. Someone's scanning this asteroid field. Very thoroughly. The scanner showed a large ship moving methodically through the field, sending out powerful search signals. Nari design, Sora said, her voice tight with fear. They're looking for me. How? How did they find us? Sora touched her wrist device. My translator. It must have a tracker I didn't know about. She quickly removed it and crushed it under her foot. We need to move, Jiho said, starting the ship's engines. But they'll detect us as soon as we leave the asteroids. Sora looked at the control panel. Your ship has particle scramblers. Yes, but they only work short range. I can modify them, she said. Nari scanners have a weakness. If you let me help, we might escape. Jiho hesitated only a moment before nodding. Tools are in that cabinet, we don't have much time. As they worked together, Jiho realized this strange partnership might be the beginning of something important. Not just for them, but maybe for their peoples too. Min's ship slipped through the busy traffic around Nova Station. The modified particle scramblers that Sora built had worked perfectly. They had escaped the Nari search vessel 2 days ago. We need supplies, Min said, checking their inventory. And fuel. Sora nodded. Her purple skin looked less pale today. She had tied her silver hair back and wore some of Min's spare clothes, which were too big for her slender frame. Will they look for us here, she asked. Probably. But Nova Station sees thousands of ships every day. We'll blend in if we're careful. Min docked at a quieter section of the station. Before leaving the ship, he gave Sora a hooded jacket. Keep this on, he said. Nari are rare here. You'll attract attention. They entered the busy station. Colorful. Signs in many languages advertised food, drinks, and services. People and aliens of different species moved through the crowded halls. Music played from shops. The air smelled of strange foods and engine fuel. Min led them to a supply store run by an old friend. The owner, a large man named Tai, greeted Min with a smile that disappeared when he saw Sora. Trouble follows you as always, Tai said quietly. Come to the back room. Once they were alone, Min explained their situation. Tai listened carefully. Corrupt Nari officials? Tai whispered. That's bad news. Their government has powerful friends. We need to get Sora's evidence to the Galactic Alliance, Min said. Tai shook his head. Not that simple. There's a bounty out for both of you. Sora gasped. Both? Yes. Tai turned a screen to show them. 5,000 credits for information on a Nari female and her human kidnapper. They say you stole important technology and attacked Nari security forces, Min cursed. We need to leave. Too late, Tai said, pointing to a security camera feed. Station police at my front door. Someone recognized you. Tai moved a shelf to reveal a hidden door. Service tunnels. They'll take you to level 3. Find G at the repair shop, tell him I sent you. Min grabbed their supplies. Thank you, old friend. Don't thank me, Tai said grimly. Just stay alive. They rushed through narrow maintenance tunnels, hearing alarms behind them. Workers they passed looked at them with surprise but asked no questions. Who is G? Sora asked as they climbed a bay ladder. No idea, but Tai wouldn't send us to someone he doesn't trust. They emerged on level 3, which was filled with repair shops and parts dealers. They found G's shop at the end of a quiet corridor. G was a small, older man with quick eyes and steady hands. He listened to their story without interruption. I can help, he said finally, but it will cost you. We don't have much money, Min admitted. G smiled. I don't want money. I want to see the evidence. Sora hesitated, then showed G the data crystal. He examined it with professional interest. The Nari have been pushing smaller repair shops out of business, G explained. Now I know why. This could help many people. G led them to a small ship. in his private dock. This will get you past the station security. It's registered to a shipping company. As they prepared to board, alarms blared throughout the level. A voice announced security checks at all exits. They've locked down the station. G said, "You need a distraction." Min looked around the shop and saw oxygen tanks used for welding. He had an idea. "Can you set these to release slowly? Not to explode, just make smoke and noise?" G nodded and quickly modified several tanks. "This will trigger the fire systems. You'll have about 3 minutes of confusion." They placed the tanks around the exit corridors and set them to release. When the first one went off, emergency systems activated. Water sprayed from ceiling pipes. People ran in all directions. Security forces moved toward the source of the noise. "Now!" Min shouted. They ran to the ship and started the engines. The dock doors were closing as part of the emergency protocol, but they managed to slip through just in time. Station defense. Cannons turned toward them but didn't fire. Too many civilian ships were nearby. "We made it," Min said, plotting a course away from the station. Sora looked at the scanner. "No, look." 3 ships had separated from the station traffic and were following them. Their energy signatures matched Nari military vessels. They were waiting for us, Min realized. Sora took the co-pilot seat. "I can help fly. My people are teaching me wrong about humans. Maybe yours taught you wrong about Nari too." Min smiled, despite the danger. "Let's find out together if we survive." The stars shone like tiny diamonds against the black canvas of space. Han piloted his small ship through the quiet sector. He called his ship Lucky Star. It was old but reliable. Han made his living finding and selling space junk. Today started, like any other day. The control panel beeped. Han looked down and saw a faint signal coming from nearby. His computer said it was a distress call. Han knew the rules. All pilots must check distress signals even in areas they shouldn't enter. "Computer, how far to the signal?" Han asked. 20 minutes at current speed," the computer replied. Han adjusted his course. The rules were clear, but he also knew that sometimes these signals were traps. Space pirates used them to lure helpful ships, then attack and steal everything. Han kept his weapons ready just in case. As he got closer, he could see a damaged ship floating in space. It wasn't very big. Its hull was a strange blue-green color that Han had never seen before. Parts of it were torn open, showing the inside. Han could tell it wasn't a human ship. "Computer, what kind of ship is that?" After a pause, the computer said, "Ship design matches Nari vessels. The Nari are not common in this area." Han knew about the Nari. They were aliens with pale purple skin and silver hair. They kept to themselves and rarely traveled beyond their own star systems. They were known for being peaceful but wary of humans. Han moved his ship alongside the damaged vessel. Through the torn hull, he could see that the inside was badly damaged. Most systems appeared to be offline. He carefully docked his ship with the alien craft. "Computer, is the air safe to breathe inside?" "Yes." "Oxygen levels normal." Han put on his spacesuit anyway, just to be safe. He grabbed his emergency kit and went through the connecting tunnel into the alien ship. Inside, it was dark. Han turned on his helmet light and looked around. The walls had strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly. The floor was covered with broken equipment. Whatever happened here had been violent. "Hello?" Han called out. "Anyone here?" No answer came. Han moved deeper into the ship, checking each small room. In what looked like the control room, he found more destruction. The ship's computer systems were smashed. Then he heard it. A soft humming sound coming from behind a sealed door. Han used his tools to force the door open. Inside was a small room with a single pod in the center. The pod was glowing with a soft blue light. Han approached it carefully and wiped away the frost on its clear top. Inside was a Nari woman, her. Silver hair floated around her face and her purple skin looked pale. The pod's screen showed her life signs were weak but stable. The pod was keeping her alive, but its power was failing. Han checked the pod's controls. He couldn't read the Nari language, but he could tell from the flashing red symbols that something was wrong. The power supply was almost empty. Suddenly, his communicator beeped. Warning, his ship's computer said. Large vessel approaching, identified as Galaxy Patrol. Han knew what that meant. The Galaxy Patrol enforced space laws. If they found him with a damaged alien ship in a restricted area, they would ask many questions. They might even think he caused the damage. He had to make a quick decision. The Nari woman would die if her pod lost power. But helping aliens without permission could get Han in serious trouble. Computer, how long until the patrol ship arrives? 7 minutes. Han made his choice. He disconnected the pod from the ship's systems and prepared it for transport. Computer, prepare medical bay. We're bringing a passenger. The pod was heavy, but Han managed to drag it back to the connecting tunnel. As he pushed it into his ship, he heard a loud alarm from the Nari vessel. Warning, his computer announced. The alien ship's self-destruct sequence has activated. Estimated time to explosion, 2 minutes. Han quickly sealed his ship and undocked from the Nari vessel. He pushed his engines hard, putting distance between them. Behind him, the Nari ship exploded in a flash of blue-green light. The blast rocked Han's ship, but he maintained control. Computer, set course away from the patrol ship. Maximum speed. As stars streaked by outside his windows, Han went to check on his unexpected passenger. The pod was now connected to his ship's power and working properly. Through the clear top, the Nari woman's eyes suddenly opened. They were bright silver, like her hair. For a moment, they stared at each other in surprise. Then her eyes closed, again as the pod kept her in sleep mode. Han didn't know who she was or why her ship was destroyed. But he had saved her life, and now his own life had become much more complicated. The soft beeping of medical equipment filled the small cabin. Ji-ho sat in a chair, watching the sleeping alien. It had been 3 days since he rescued her from the damaged ship. The pod had kept her in a deep sleep while her body healed, but the monitor showed she would wake soon. Ji-ho had hidden his ship in an asteroid field far from regular patrol routes. He checked the news daily but found no reports about a missing Nari. That seemed strange. A change in the pod's sound made Ji-ho look up. The Nari woman's eyes were open, staring at him. She sat up quickly, pressing against the far side of the pod, as far away from him as possible. It's okay, Ji-ho said slowly. You're safe. The woman spoke rapidly in her language. Ji-ho shook his head and pointed to his ear. I don't understand. Do you have a translator? The woman hesitated, then touched a small device on her wrist. She spoke again, and this time Ji-ho heard her words in his language, though the voice sounded mechanical. Where am I? Who are you? She asked, eyes darting around the cabin. My name is Ji-ho. I found your damaged ship and brought you to mine, before yours exploded. You're on my salvage vessel, the Lucky Star. The woman's purple skin seemed to pale. Your kind calls my people Nari, yes? I am Sora. Ji-ho nodded. Are you hungry? Can you eat human food? Sora considered this. Some, nothing with your milk or wheat. She still pressed against the far side of the pod, watching Ji-ho with caution. Ji-ho moved slowly to the food unit and prepared a simple meal of rice and vegetables. He placed it on a small table near Sora, then backed away. The Galaxy Patrol was coming, he explained while she carefully took the food. I had to leave quickly. I couldn't ask permission to help you. Sora ate a small bite, then more quickly. The patrol would have asked many questions I cannot answer. Why was your ship damaged? Were you attacked? She looked down. Yes, but not by who you might think. Pirates? No, my own people. Ji-ho was surprised. The Nari were known as a peaceful species. Their society was said to be without crime or violence. Why would your own people attack you? Sora finished eating before answering. I discovered something they want to keep secret. She reached for a small bag attached to her suit and pulled out a crystal data drive. This has proof that some Nari leaders are working with criminals. They steal resources from poor planets and sell them for huge profits. Jiho whistled. That's dangerous information. Yes. I was taking it to the central planets to show the Galactic Alliance when they found me. Jiho thought about this. Getting involved in alien politics was risky, but he had already saved her, he was already involved. Why trust me with this? He asked. Humans and Nari don't have a great history. Sora finally moved to sit on the edge of the pod. You saved my life when you didn't have to. That means something. She paused. What do you know about Nari? Jiho shrugged. Not much. You keep to yourselves. Your technology is advanced. You think humans are too emotional and violent. That is what most Nari believe, Sora admitted. We are taught that humans evolved on a dangerous planet with many predators. That makes you unpredictable. And what do you think?